In this video, we're going to use the TI-30XS to go between fractions, decimals, and mixed numbers using particular buttons on our calculator. Okay, we're going to work with some rational values, some rational numbers, decimals, fractions, and as you can see, the first value that we want to work with is pretty basic. It is a negative uh, terminating decimal. I mean, you may already know uh, what a converted value would be. And please note that all three of these are rational numbers because they do come rather, we can hop back and forth from fractions. And actually, three of them are set up as fractions. Okay, so let's use what we know as far as our calculator to see what we can come up with. Okay, what kind of equivalent forms are we going to find? Okay, so the first one, you need to push negative, which is this button below where it says ANS for answer. Okay, we have our negative, then we do 3.875. Okay, now remember, you need to push enter, okay, to get it into the calculator. Now you can do other things, but if we push enter, we can use our toggle button, which is right above enter. And that gives us an improper fraction immediately. Okay, so let's go to -3. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, of course, don't forget your negative. And then we have 3/1/8. Okay, now let's try to make that a mixed number. Okay, so we know that we're going to have our negative and our 3, but we need to make a fraction from everything that is to the right of the decimal, the 875, okay? So, but we want to do it from what's entered in the calculator. So another thing we can do right now is toggle. It goes back to our decimal. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes it depends on the calculator. So now that I have it entered, let's see if I can use my buttons or if what I'm gonna have to do to get it to work in this particular calculator. Okay. All right. So what do we need? We want mixed number. Well, it's right here. If you can see where I am, that button, remember it says times, that's 10 to the nth power button. But we want that green that's above it. So what are we going to do? Push second, enter. Okay, and that did set it up. What this means, what I was looking for is to make sure that the value you're trying to convert is still in your calculator. Your calculator is still working with it. And obviously, our calculator was and we were okay. So we have our little setup. It tells us our setup right beside our value. Now push enter, and there we go. So it's -3/7/8. 3 7/8. Okay. All right, now let's look at the next value. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out so we have a clean screen. So I could just push it in by dividing 22 divided by 7, but let's not do that. Let's use our fraction button, which is n over d, numerator over denominator. So let's push that. Then we can just enter our numbers. 22. Now we have to arrow down to go down to the denominator and put in our 7, push enter. Okay, now nothing happened. That's because we just entered it into the calculator. The calculator needs to know, hey, I want to work with this. So we have it entered in. Now what do? Push our toggle, and that gives us something to round. Now, this is a value that keeps going. Okay. You can keep going with, there are more numbers. Our calculator only holds so much. But it does create a fraction. And our calculator knows what the fraction is. It recognized it. So it is still a rational number. So let's push our toggle again. And it goes back. Now that we have it there, let's see if what the mixed number is actually, okay? All right. So first let's put our decimal in before we do that. We had 3 point, let's round it. Notice it looks very much like the uh, decimal value of pi, but when you compare them, you will see that that is not the case. So this should say almost equal to, okay? All right. It, well, you know what? We might be able to put equal before I make a decision if we have almost equal to, approximate, or is it actually equal? So which button are we going to push? Same one. Notice the not the N over D, but the 10 to the nth button. You know, we want that green above it. So we go second, and it's set up correctly, so we're okay there. Push enter, and there it is. So that actually equals 3 and 1 over 7. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the next number. Okay, that looks very strange. Don't worry about that. And you're not going to have to put in everything separately. Let's enter it in our calculator exactly the way we see it. Okay, so let's clear everything out. We're going to use our N over D button. Let's push that. Now, but we have a mixed number in our numerator. That's not a problem. You're going to use the same button, but this time you want the green above it, which is your mixed number setup. So push second, same number, and there it is. Now it's set up to where you can just enter the numbers, whatever you need. Okay, so we have 2 first, that's our whole number. We go over, and we have 3. Arrow down, we have 5. Arrow down to the denominator, put in your 3, and let's push enter. Okay, great. It gives us a nice fraction, 13 over 15. I could actually write better than that. Let's see here. There we go. 13 over 15. Okay, now let's get our decimal value. Well, out of curiosity, I'm going to push the toggle button and see what happens. Ah, and there it is. And lo and behold, it is a repeating value. And how do we write that? That is going to be 0.8 with a 6 bar. That is how we notate repeating, okay? All right, now let's go to the last one. And we already know how to set this up. Let's see what happens. So let's clear everything out. And we are going to push our ND button, our fraction button. But we need for a numerator and denominator, we need the mixed numbers set up. So that is same button, but we have to push second. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and arrow down and get to the denominator and go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to set it up. There's your setup. Okay. So let's go ahead and put in the denominator. So I need a 3, arrow over, and I have a 2, and then I'll go down, and I have a 3, and I'm going to arrow back up. Go ahead and start with my whole number 2, then my 1, arrow down, then my 3. Okay, now I'm going to arrow all the way over. I need you to see how arrowing over gets you where you want. Okay, I could have pushed enter and gotten the value, but now you see that it's clean, the arrow's not there. Okay, how helpful that is. Okay, and then note over here, you can pause the video and look at the buttons that I pushed. You can rewind the video and see what I'm working with and which buttons I pushed. It gives you a great detailed setup here. Okay, now let's push enter and see what happens. Oh, nice. So that is 15 over 22. I kind of randomly chose these values, but I did a pretty good job. Oh, if I could write, I can choose values, but I can't write very well. All right. Okay, that looks better. Over 22. Okay, let's push something else to see what else we can get. How about the toggle again? Or go ahead and push the toggle and see what we get. Okay, there's our decimal, and it is also a repeating decimal. So that's 6. Oh, it's the 8-1 that repeats. Okay, now this 2 at the end of the decimal, I don't even know what place value that is, but that is where the calculator automatically rounds. So that's just a programming thing. Ignore that. The calculator is actually telling you that the 8 and 1 repeat. Okay, so we are safe there. Now let's do something else. Push toggle again. Yeah, we get our nice fraction again. But let's see. Well, there isn't anything else we can get. I was going to say no, because that is a proper fraction. That is a nice repeating decimal. So there isn't anything else we can do. That's actually a very nice, clean fraction. Okay, this gives you 3 different ways, or no, one, two, four different numbers that you can deal with and handle. But while we're here, we were talking about rational numbers only. But let's look at the 22/7, just for fun. Okay, and I said sometimes we use the 22/7 to estimate pi. Remember I told you about pi? We've kind of played with pi in class. So let's clear this out. Let's just push the pi and let's push enter. That's just pi. But I want to see the decimal for pi. So push my toggle. There it is. And let's compare. 3.14. Yeah, it breaks down right after the 4. So as you see, you can't say they're the same. Probably, and I know that we've done it like in trig, used it for an estimate, but never mistake it with pi. But it's kind of nice to know that the calculator has this toggle button that goes back and forth and that we can see these values. Another one that we can look at that is uh, not a rational number. Remember, pi is not rational. We can look at e, but I don't want to confuse you what rational numbers. Everything that we've worked out here uh, that I've written down, these are all rational numbers and fit under that category, which is an important concept to know. Okay, thank you for watching the video. Have a good day and happy testing.